All right, folks, it's time for the World Politics Show, and there's a lot of things going on in the political front, and we've got some folks that are willing to discuss it and see what they've got to say about it as well. Well, one thing that's going on is there is some Biden impeachment hearings that are taking place, and that is definitely something that is going on. And so the House Republicans launched their first formal impeachment hearing against President Biden on Thursday morning as the House Oversight, Judiciary, and Ways and Means Committee tried to link the president to his son Hunter Biden's overseas business dealings. The hearings came weeks after House Speaker Kevin McCarthy allowed the chairman of those committees to open the inquiry without a floor vote. The Democrats are claiming that the GOP push to impeach Biden is baseless, and the Republicans have failed to produce any evidence of wrongdoing. The witnesses included Eileen O'Connor, former Assistant Attorney General at the Justice Department, and Jonathan Turley, a law professor who testified in support of former President Donald Trump during his impeachment inquiry in 2019. So that's one of the things that I saw that was going on in the news on the political front. And of course, tensions are erupting as House Republicans met behind closed doors on Thursday, the latest sign of deep divisions and infighting as the House GOP conference has failed to coalesce around a plan to avert a shutdown. And shutdowns can definitely have a significant impact on a lot of the economy and all along that kind of way. GOP Representative Matt Gaetz and Speaker Kevin McCarthy got into a testy exchange during their meeting, according to a source in the room. Gaetz stood up and confronted McCarthy about whether his allies were paying conservative influencers to bash Gaetz in social media posts and allegations circulating on social media, and one that the Speaker's office has denied. So McCarthy's response, according to the source in the room, was that he wouldn't waste the time or money on Gaetz. Another source said McCarthy also shot back that he doesn't know what Gaetz is spending time on, but he, the Speaker, is donating $5 million to help keep the majority. I asked him whether or not he was paying those influencers to post negative things about me online. Gaetz told a reporter from CNN and confirmed that McCarthy said he wouldn't waste time on him. And they've long had a tense relationship. And speaking of tense relationships, there was a lot of tension in that debate that went on as well. So that's something we're going to talk about for sure, and all along those lines, because there were a lot of testing moments that were taking place during the debate, and a lot of tension that was going between everybody from Vivek to Nikki Haley to even Tim Scott, who was being frustrated that he wasn't being heard. And earlier on World Edition, me and Nick were having a little bit of a disagreement, and I'm going to hear what Adam's got to think about this. But I personally thought that the Univision moderator did a good job of addressing issues that were of concern to the Latin American community, and all along those lines. Nick is like thinking that they need to be maybe a little bit more neutral, and I can understand where that might come in and everything. But I'm also thinking, because my mother was involved many years ago on Black Issues Forum, which is a PBS show in North Carolina, and Steve Rao, one of our moderators, is involved with that now. And I do know that if you are addressing a core audience, then sometimes you want to have their issues addressed as well. And I think that that's what the Univision lady was doing. But I don't know what your thoughts were as to her role and the other two moderators. They did kind of lose control, and that I would agree with, and all along those lines. But I did think that she did a good job of addressing the issues and curtailing the questions so that it was of them addressing and speaking to that Latin American constituency. But what are your thoughts around that as well?
Well, I agree with you. And I think that overall, when we talk about whether it's the Latin American community, whether it's the Hispanic community, the African American community, I think Donald Trump is going to make inroads with these communities in 2024. And I think that's going to be a big part of why he wins the election. I also think he's going to be successful in the Rust Belt states again. And I think he's going to take back Georgia, because I think he's going to get a larger share of the African American vote. So it's going to be a surprising election in so far as Donald Trump is going to get more of the minority vote, more of the working class vote. I suspect more independents, and narrowly win states that he lost in 2000.
Yep, and another thing that I know that was going on, and I'm gonna bring in Sasha Starr as well, and Nick may be joining us also. And y'all actually kind of got into it on Tuesday and all along those lines. But one of the things that also was brought up several times was Ukraine and whether it is a blank check or a loan or a number of other things along those lines. And there was some definitely differences of opinion in that regards. So I was just wondering y'all's thoughts around that, because definitely there seem to be some people that are saying that it is has to be a loan that will be paid back after the war is won by Ukraine and all in that space. And there was definitely some candidates that were making that notion of it being a how the check is and all along those lines. But Sasha, you got any thoughts? Because like I said, you and Adam got into some testy exchange on this past Tuesday about Ukraine, and that definitely came up as a topic in the debate.
Well, in my opinion, the idea of blank check is invention of Trump's leaning Republicans, because it's never worked that way, never will work that way, and it's not what happening.